All right, folks, this one comes to us from our Fundamentals of Compositing series. This is Volume 2, How to Do a Movie Poster. So if you like this one and you want more, check out 7thSeasonStudios.com for the complete course. And if you're interested in getting all of our content at one low monthly price, check out the link below for our YouTube family. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, gang, and welcome to Composite Theory Volume 2. Now, this is a series in which I look at students' composites, they send them to me, and I critique them. So the first thing that I want to get out of the way, there is no such thing as a bad composite when it comes to your learning process. So anything that I do to this, I want you to just be very clear that I'm not critiquing it from a negative standpoint. I'm showing you how I would do it. And if you want to take that away and make some modifications, awesome. If not, that's fine too. I'm very grateful that my students trust me to send me these things so that I can show you how to tackle some of the challenges you have when you do composites. So this poster comes to us from a student, and it's the Pandemic Fallout movie poster. So there's some good things in here, and then there's maybe some things that need some improvement. And everything that I do, again, is my own personal taste. So don't think that I'm critiquing it. Let's go ahead and get started. This lesson is about making sure your selections are sharp. Now, the thing that I don't like about this off the bat, the thing that really caught my eye when I opened it up, I have some effects down here that are right by the smoke, and so you're going to lose a lot of that contrast in addition to down here. And the central figure, the woman, is not as sharp. Remember, the foreground areas need to be sharper and more detailed than the background areas. So what happened is I lost a lot of this city here. When I looked at it, I didn't quite know what I was looking at, and the smoke didn't quite wrap around the way that I needed it to. So the first thing that I'm do every time I look at a composite is I sort it out. So I came over to the layers panel, and let's turn everything off. Okay, we're trying to get back down to just the girl here, just the woman. All right. So the first thing we do, we sort it out and we get rid of everything that is not the woman. All right, why? Because she is the central figure. In your composites, you want to make certain that the central figure gets most of your attention. So now, let's go ahead. It looks like they did some coloring here. So they've got a couple color layers. Let's go ahead and turn those off. We've got a brightness and contrast adjustment. And so I'm looking at some of this here, and I'm trying to figure out why she might not be as, say, consistent as she needs to be. So let's turn off some of these masks. And this is going to get us back to as close as we can get, because of the way they cropped it, to the original image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out why we have two masks here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this mask on. And I'm going to turn this mask on. Now, notice what's happening up here around the hair and the arm. When I go to turn this mask on, I lose a lot of that arm for some reason. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to delete that mask. Okay. Now, because this is a strong pose, we need a strong selection. And right around here, we just don't really have that. And then down here in the legs, we're losing a little bit of it. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to come out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep this mask and this girl. Now watch this. Right click, rasterize. Okay, this is going to flatten out the image. All right, now you'll notice my recolor layers disappeared too. Because why? We just now have a flat image, let's say. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and I'm going to fix some of the selection. All right, let's do this. Come in with the selection brush, go to add, bring it up, and let's grab the selection brush. Okay, now, why is that not working? Well, we need snap to edges on, folks. Okay. Snap to that edge. We've got a good fist there. We've got a good look there. We've got this. Relatively happy. And the cool thing about composites is you don't have to be perfect. So I'm going to say that this is good enough for horseshoes and hand grenades right here. And because I lost some of that hand, I'm just going to have to live with that. I'll have to figure out how to make that work. So I now come to subtract. When I come down along the sides, I add. And we're pretty good there. I'm going to come down along the sides here. We're pretty good there. And all I'm doing, I'm just touching on the sides where we need to touch. And I add here. Okay. And I subtract here. All right. That fist looks pretty good. This is going to be a focal point because it's part of that strong image. Now let's go ahead. I accidentally subtract. Let's add to here. Okay, now we're going to get pretty close here. So I'm going to subtract out to about here. That is good enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. Now the thing that I might subtract on here. Let's take snap to edges off. And I'm going to subtract along this neck. I don't need to be terribly precise, but I do need a little bit more. And I'm going to add right by this ear. I'm going to add to this ear, just like that. All right. And then I'm going to subtract right here. All right. And when it comes to a composite theory, what I'm doing here is I'm making a very strong central figure with a nice firm selection because this is going to be important. You don't want your central figure to be fuzzy. All right, once you've got this, the easiest way for me to do it, and I know there are people out there that are going to hang me by my thumbs, I go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. Now, that allows me to just go through, and now I'm going to delete out the other girl. And I deselect, and I go ahead and delete out the other layer. Okay. Now we've got a much stronger selection. I can work with this. Notice how the arm now, much stronger. All right, so now that we've got her, we know where she is. Let's put this as central. And in your own composites, you want to start with the central. Now let's start with the background. I turn up the sky. Okay, that works. I turn on the stars. Okay, I don't hate that. Yeah. Let's turn on the city. All right, pretty good. I got some dark places. I got some light places. I got this city. All right. The thing that I might do now is I might come down and holding control, I might move her down a little bit further into my composite. Now, I don't want to go too far because there's some text that has to go along the bottom there. So I might actually call that a day right here. But I'm going to make her a little bit bigger than she was. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the additional foreground. All right, that's what we have to work with. Let's go ahead and take a look at the smoke plumes. I'm actually pretty happy with that. The fire, I think they did a really nice job on the fire. I think that that's going to lend itself really well. Let's take a look at the mid-fog. All right, now you see right about here, it's covering up some of the smoke plume. I'm going to want to pay attention to that coming up later. And let's go ahead now with the ground smoke. Ooh, that's the problem. All right, so let's go ahead in the next lesson. I'm going to show you how to work with this ground smoke and blend it into your composites so that it's not overpowering, let's say. All right, we'll call it on this one. In the next one, we're going to show you how to work with ground smoke. All right, we'll see you in the next one.